I'm recording this the Wednesday night, hour after AEW Dynamite has went off, and I can say this was the best Dynamite of the year by far. And Dynamite has been really good this year, but this last episode of Dynamite was really great. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I didn't have any problems with the show, which is surprising because it's usually something I can look at from every show, no matter what the company is, and say, oh, I didn't like that. But everything on this show tonight, or last night when y'all seeing this, I enjoyed. The show started with a lot of chaos. You had Master P coming out there. The show was in New Orleans, so it introduced the ops. They came out there, and then Marina Shafir, the way she came down, how the Death Riders usually come down, that was smart because then they came to the other side of the arena to attack the ops. Then you had then who was it? You had the Bucks, the Young Bucks, and Okada come out there. Then that's when Swerve and Kenny Omega pulled up with Swerve. He had a chain around his neck. Kenny, he had a chair. Then they all left. Samoa Joe, he called out John Moxley. He accepted his challenge for the AEW World Championship, which is taking place May 14th. That's a TV special they got. I think that's that 4-hour TV special they doing. Don't know why they're doing a 4-hour TV show, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the show started with a lot of chaos when Joe said that he was going after his world championship. Him and Swerve had a little stare down because it's mutual respect between them now since they're both baby faces. But at the end of the day, they still care about that AEW World Championship. Swerve not going to cost him or nothing like that because that wouldn't make sense. But if Joe is to win it, then Swerve would probably be one of the first people to challenge him. Samoa Joe probably won't win it though because I don't think it'll make sense. But this segment was good. There was a lot of chaos to start, and uh, that's how it ended. Good. That was a good segment. It was a great way to start the show. Then you go backstage with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne was telling. He had, and this was good too because Nick Wayne now the new Ring of Honor TV champion. So shout out to him. That match with Commander was good too. And then Christian Cage, he tries to take the credit for Nick Wayne winning. Then Nick is like, if you would have followed the plan, maybe you would be a champion too. So I like that. I feel like they building Nick Wayne's character is being built really well with AEW right now, and they're doing a good job with it. And then what did Christian Cage say? He said he had an extensive celebration with his mother or something like that. So that was a good segment, and they definitely gonna do something with it. It'll probably be his. Christian will probably end up being with Edge or Cope, whatever you want to call him at some point. I don't know how you get there, but they can find a way to do it. Then Kip Sapien, he'll go with Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne. Then they could do some tag team stuff. Then eventually they go after FTR. And FTR, their segment was really good, which I'm going to get into that a bit later. But the first match of the night, you had Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe. At first, and the way they built this match is through that 8-man tag team match they had for the $400,000. It was very random with the people they had in it. But because based off that random match, they've been able to build stories off of that with Ricochet and Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. They used one random match for the money that they probably didn't even get to make multiple storylines out of it. So they had Ricochet and Mark Briscoe had the two bald guys wrestle, and they were in that 8-man tag team match. This was a fun match. I did not expect Mark Briscoe to get the win, but I have no problem with him getting the win. And Ricochet still looked good in the match. It was a fun back and forth match. They were both able to get their moves in. The springboard 450 from Ricochet is always nice. That's one of my favorite moves from him. Probably is my favorite move. Mark Briscoe, his lariat was great. Ricochet sold it well. Ricochet is one of the best sellers too, not just in AEW, but in wrestling. So him being able to sell is really good. Then when Ricochet tried to put his feet on the ropes, his feet. Mark Briscoe, he ended up reversing it to get the roll-up pin and win the match. Then after it, Ricochet would attack him, tried to attack him with a chair, I think, at first. Then he tried to attack him with the scissors after. But that's when Kevin Knight came out there, and that's going to play into their story later on in the show because they had the backstage segment last week when and then that's how he got to the tag team match they had to have because Ricochet feel like they need to prove something before stepping to him. Excuse me. So then you get to Stokely Hathaway coming out with FTR after that. And this was I enjoyed this segment because I wasn't expecting that. We ain't seen Stokely Hathaway in a minute. So FTR coming out with him because Dax, I think he's good on the mic. Cash, not so great. He's pretty mediocre on the mic in my opinion. But the segment was still good. So Stokely Hathaway coming out there and he made some really good points. He was like, Heyman is an arsonist. He set a man's house on fire. Ricochet carries a golden pair of scissors to hurt people and shank people. Moxley's committed a whole bunch of crimes that we can't even talk about on the show. But FTR gets suspended because they hit a few people. He does have a good point. It is professional wrestling, so them hitting some people, whether it's officials or not. Stokely Hathaway made a good point, and the segment was really good. FTR, they talked about how they were the vets to help Daniel Garcia when he couldn't get that same help from Chris Jericho. They didn't say that uh, specifically, but that is true. Chris Jericho wasn't really trying to help Daniel Garcia, but FTR, they wanted to help Danny Garcia, and they did that, and he became the TNT champion. So, and then the Rock and Roll Express, that even though it was random, it was good because it plays well into their heel character. Them attacking two old tag team veterans, one of the best tag teams ever. That's a great idea. And then that's how you get the Paragon, the Undisputed Kingdom, Undisputed Era, whatever you want to call them. The Paragon is the Paragon. That is a terrible name, but you know what? We rocking, I guess. The Paragon. That's what they are. Since they don't want to do the Undisputed Kingdom no more, since people don't like it. But the Paragon, we couldn't have thought of anything better. Tony Khan, come on. But it's not terrible. I will say that it's not a terrible name, but it's not a good one either. Then you had the Young Bucks take on Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. I really thought Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey was gonna win this match. This match was intense. It was fun. The young guys, Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey, being able to get their stuff in. And this is the Bucks' third or fourth match this year. I think it's their third match, and they look great in this match. They were doing a lot of stuff I wasn't expecting. There was a spot where Nick Jackson and Mike Bailey exchanged kicks. The powerbomb drop kick to Nick was really cool. I enjoyed that spot. And then Matt, he was able to say the matchup to keep it going. Then Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, they did a good job in this match. I say whatever you want about the Young Bucks with backstage stuff and them as people, but them in the ring, they can go and they put on a fun match with Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. They were able, like, both teams looked good. I really thought Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey was going to win the match at some point, and then the Young Bucks ended up winning because Ricochet, he got involved, obviously, which I was expecting because Kevin Knight saved Mark Briscoe earlier, and like I said, they spun that one random 8-man tag team match, they turned it into a story, which I really liked. So that was great. It was a great match. The Young Bucks got to win, as they should. Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight didn't need to. They shouldn't have won this match, but they did a great job making you believe that they could win this match and they could come away with the win. That's why I enjoyed this match so much. Then you had Toni Storm's interview with Renee Paquette. She was like, I'm going to do an open eliminator challenge. Whoever wants to step up and challenge me on Saturday, show up. Then Queen Aminata came backstage and she was like, I'll take you on this weekend, which I like that because Queen Aminata doesn't get showed a lot, and then it's good to have your world champion ready, just so they don't look rusty or anything in the ring. It's good to keep your champions wrestling. They don't have to wrestle consistently they don't have to wrestle every week, but them wrestling every once in a while on TV is good to keep them focused, keep them ready. And I think her and Queen Aminata have a solid match. It probably won't be the greatest, most groundbreaking match ever, but it'll definitely be solid. Then you had the Hurt Syndicate. This segment was hilarious. I made a short on it. If y'all didn't see that short, go watch it. But the Hurt Syndicate, they pulled up, and MVP was like, every team we didn't beat, they done disappeared. Beat Private Party to win the titles. We haven't seen them since. Beat the Outrunners in their first defense. Haven't seen them since. Just beat Big Bill and Brian Keith not too long ago. Haven't seen them since. And when we did see them, they're backstage, and well, we have seen them, but they've been in drama with Chris Jericho, so they ain't been going after those titles again. The Gates of Agony. Beat them not like a week or two ago. Ain't seen them since. So they're 4-0 since they're 3-0 as champions. They obviously won the title match to become champions. So, and then like the MVP was right. Everybody then disappeared after they beat them, or they end up in some drama like the stuff with the learning tree. Then MJF, he come out there. He wanted 3 thumbs up. Sheldon, he give him a thumbs up. The MVP, obviously, he give him a thumbs up. Lastly, he was like, he teetering, like he don't know what he want to do. And MJF, he give him his respect. And then he was like, that car I pulled up in, I'll give it to you if you just give me a thumbs up. So it took him, and lastly was like, as long as I get the keys, then you know what? So then they go to the car. Lastly, he get in, him and Sheldon, they get in the car, close the door, and MJF, he like, hey, what you doing? I gave you the keys so you can see the car, so can I get my thumbs up now? And lastly, as he drives off, thumbs down. So he just steals MJF's car. That was hilarious. That was the best. that wasn't the best moment of the night. Let me not exaggerate, but that was a hilarious moment, and I really enjoyed it. So shout out to the Hurt Syndicate, shout out to MJF. Lastly, another crime committed on AEW TV, which I know Stokely Hathaway isn't enjoying. But yeah, and then the segment with MJF and Hangman, I like that because I'm glad that they're not going away from that story. Obviously, you don't have to tell it every week. They can tell it throughout the history of AEW as long as they have both those guys, since they are 1-1 against each other. And every time they wrestle, you can play into that. Like if they have a third match, like 6 months down the line, you could be like, they're 1-1 against each other. Who can win this third match? And then eventually they might be tied 3-3 throughout like 3 or 4 more years with AEW. Then they have a 7 match. Every story don't need to have multiple matches. They can tell this story forever, kind of like how WWE did with John Cena and Randy Orton. If AEW is able to hold on to both of these guys, you can tell this story for multiple years, and not every feud has to have. Not every time they feud with each other does it have to be multiple matches. The story can culminate over a course of multiple years, and I like that because that's when it's long-term storytelling. You can have them do different stuff. They don't have to always be on the same shows. But you can definitely have them interact backstage and stuff. And Hangman, well, MJF told Hangman, even if you do get to the finals, you're going to do what you always do and choke. And then Hangman was like, well, I got something you can choke on. And that was hilarious. So Hangman and MJF, both great. They're both doing good stuff right now. Hangman being he should lose to Kyle Fletcher. He should definitely lose. But Hangman's been doing solid stuff. MJF's been doing solid stuff. So glad they didn't go through with the Jeff Jarrett feud because I don't even think they had a one-on-one match. But yeah, but let's get to the next match, which was Will Ospreay and Brody King teaming up to take on Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander, the Walking Weapon. This was a fun tag team match. Uh, Josh Josh went for the ankle lock early on Ospreay, and then let me just say, Ospreay and Brody King, for two guys that have never teamed together, if I'm not mistaken, they had really good tag team chemistry in this match. They displayed it really well. The way that Brody King chopped Ospreay into the match as a tag was hilarious because I don't even know if Will Ospreay was expecting that. He probably was, but the fans definitely wasn't expecting that for him to get tagged in that way. So that was hilarious. But Josh, he tried to overpower Brody King early. It didn't work at first. Obviously, had to go deeper into the match before he was able to do that. It was a good. Lance Archer got involved, and that's kind of when the match. That's when the tides turned, and that's when it went into Don Callis' family's favor once Lance Archer got involved. Because then Will's Ospreay focus diverted from the match to Lance Archer and taking him out. So then that'll leave Brody King isolated for us to catch and Josh Alexander to do their thing, and Josh Alexander would get the win. So the Don Callis family won the match. Then they would attack. Then Cal Fletcher came out there afterwards because he got to fight Hangman. But he might be facing Will Ospreay in the finals. So Don Callis family, they were all out there to attack Will Ospreay and Brody King. Then he had Hangman try to come out there, but Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta attacked him. So I guess they're now part of the Don Callis family too, which explains the heel turn and them of Rocky Romero turning on Mark Briscoe at Collision last week. I like this story with the Don Callis family. It's growing. I think Kyle Fletcher needs to win against Hangman, and he needs to win against Will Ospreay, and he needs to become AEW World Champion. Because I think you really want to bring some prestige to the Don Callis family. Make Kyle Fletcher the World Champion. I don't know how he's in his 20s for sure. I don't know what his exact age, but put the strap on Kyle Fletcher and just give it a chance. Like you didn't do it with Megan Bain, which I thought they should have did. But do it with Kyle Fletcher. See what it can be. Test it out. If it doesn't work, you can take the title off of him. You can give it to a Will Ospreay or somebody who's one of your more trusted veterans. But give that chance to Kyle Fletcher. I think he really deserves it, and he did a good job. And the Don Callis family, that story with guys being hurt, then bringing in other people plays well into it. Like in sports, if you have guys that get hurt, kind of like the Dallas Mavericks this past NBA season, they had players in and out the lineup, so they had to bring in other players. So Don Callis, you see, one of my guys is down, let me bring in two other guys. So I lost one, but I can add two. So the math is mathing for Don Callis, and the story is looking good for Don Callis. Then the Women's Owen Hart Cup semifinals match with Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander, their first ever matchup in AEW. Now, at first I was thinking Chris Statlander got to get the win, and then as the match went on, really after the match, I realized I see what they're doing with this. because it started off. I mean, both women were trading blows to start the match, so that was fun. Then, Chris, she kind of hit like a Pele kick of her own. It wasn't as effective as what AJ Styles does, and I think Jamie Hayter no-sold it too, or she got up instantly or something. And then she did the double knees to the back too. That was really impressive about Chris Statlander's double knees to the back. She had, the power bomb was good. It was a few cool spots and moments in this match. Jamie Hayter hitting a Haterade back to back to win the match. That was great, and it was a fun match. Definitely worthy of the main event. It was the best match of the night. Um, Great back and forth action. Really, either one could have won. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. And if it's the third time Chris Statlander just lost in the semifinals, but I understand why Chris Statlander lost. She is already 0-2 versus Mercedes Moné, and no matter who won this match, Mercedes Moné is beating them at Double or Nothing to go to All In and challenge Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. So do y'all really want to see Chris Statlander lose a third match to Mercedes Moné? Because I don't. I think if they have a third match, Chris Statlander should win. So that's where it's like they're in a tough spot because either one of them could win this match, and Chris Statlander would probably be the better choice because I think she probably would have made more sense since they already had a chemistry in the ring together. But Chris Statlander doesn't need to lose a third match to Mercedes Moné, which is why I have no problem with Jamie Hayter getting the win. And the match was good, so they made it up for it. Chris Statlander not winning. If the match was bad, then I would have had some problems. But the match was good. I enjoyed it. Well, the match wasn't just good. It was great. It was a great main event. Let me not undersell it. That was a great main event between two very talented women. So Chris Statlander losing in the semifinals for a third time, it does suck, but it makes the most sense because I don't want to see her lose to Mercedes a third time and be 0-3 against Mercedes Moné. If they wrestle again, Chris Statlander should get the win, in my opinion. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. But this episode of Dynamite, from start to finish, all gas, no brakes, as Jacob 52 like to say. But this was a phenomenal episode. 10 out of 10. I had no problems with the show. It was 4 matches, I think. Yeah, all 4 matches were really good. The segments were really good. A lot of stories were advanced, heading into Collision and into next week's Dynamite. So I love this episode. Best episode of the year. This might be the best wrestling event of the year, like 10 out of 10. I don't think I've gave any wrestling show a 10